Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Victoria, where our balance graph appears to be moderately broken. Let's try ticking it forward and see if it fixes itself. It's still moderately broken. Cool. Well, we're working our way out of debt right now. And we're also constructing some wheat farms, working on getting our food situation a little bit more under control. So that'll be great. And the question is, how much more wheat are we going to have to make than this? The answer is probably a good amount more. I think. Based on what I'm seeing here, this imbalance didn't come down as quickly as I was expecting it to. So we're still at minus 1.26k. And I currently believe that we need additional wheat farms. So we've got 13 and 10 here. We're going to take Rhineland to 15 and then North Rhine to 11 for right now. Cool. And we're still working our way out of debt here. So that's great. And we don't have basically anything in the investment pool. That makes a lot of sense. We've been building a lot recently. But we're working our way out of this debt, and that's fantastic. We just got steam donkeys unlocked for various mines and logging camps. Okay, so if we were to switch into our buildings tab here, so we can see that this is a new production method that's available. So we want to swap to canneries and pot stills, or actually patent stills. There we go. And we definitely want to go up to craftsman sewing. Okay, so this is just a production method. Right, gotcha. And those are currently privately owned. These are currently merchant guilds. Interesting. Shopkeepers plus 5k. Fascinating. Okay. So I want to go through these and make sure that we have all of these upgraded to the current production methods, right? That'll be for the best. What else do we have here? We'll toss in the water tube boiler. This should make us a lot more competitive, in theory. And we can also grab ourselves a technology. Now, I'm pretty concerned about Austria at this moment. And I'm not really interested in the naval aspect of that, considering we're going to be going against Austria most likely. Let's grab shell guns here. There we go. And let's just work on our military technology for a while. Now, we can see here that we do have an unproductive trade route, and I do want to cancel it. There we go. We also have a lack of silk input goods and fish input goods. Now, that's interesting. So what produces silk? Produced in synthetic plants and silk plantations. I'm guessing we can't get silk plantations. So we would need synthetic plants, which we may not have the tech for at this point. Right? Synthetics plants. Let's pin this open. There we go. And let's see what we've got here. Yeah, this requires that technology there. Aniline. Okay, so we're probably going to have to trade for silk. Now, fish is something we can do something about. So that's good to know. And oh, what is this event? Industrial barriers. Factories in Brandenburg are refusing to hire Ashkenazi people owing to their status as second-class citizens in Prussia. I know. Us businessmen have a reputation for only caring about the bottom line. That may be true for some, but the way I see it, any venture must be built on a strong foundation of values. The Ashkenazi don't understand those values. How could they? Those are our values. All hands are needed to build the future. Get out of here. Cool. We've also got this going on. People from the state of North Rhine have started massively migrating across the country in the hopes of finding a better place to settle and escape the great famine that has been devastating their lives. Along the deserted and rusty railways, the cry of children is the only sound that can be heard. No train will arrive until noon, but families have already gathered near the ruined station. Some of them have been walking for days. Where is brother? They keep walking. Rumors of a better life beyond their land are a foolish hope, they suspect. Where is brother? Rain falls. Some men too. This got weird. like, syntactically. I feel like something might have broken with that event. Like, this one kind of makes sense to me, but it would have made more sense as 3 sentences. This one definitely got very weird, especially with the 3 quotation marks. I don't know what's going on there. Awkward. So, people would migrate more due to the lack of emergency relief, or we could establish an emergency relief decree in North Rhine, which we can go ahead and do. So we can establish our decree here, if I can remember where that actually is. Emergency relief. There we go. Cool. So that's now active. And we've only got the silk input goods shortage. Now, we could definitely try to trade for that. So an import trade route for silk. And then we'd want to put that into, or rather bring that into, like, from the Tuscan market. Since the productivity is highest here, I'm assuming. There we go. So we'll import some silk. And hopefully that will deal with our input goods shortage. Now, I did note the fish input goods shortage, and I still, even though there's not currently one, let's actually take a look at where fish is in this. So I don't care about trade routes. I want to sort by balance, and that did improve our wheat balance a little bit. We still need some fish here. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to build 3 additional wheat farms in North Rhine. That will continue to offset our wheat. And then I also want to go for some fishing wharves up over here. Now, we can't really build those at this exact moment, because we're barely afloat right now while building these 3 wheat farms. So that's noted. But I definitely do want to build some fishing wharves over here. Now, we're not expected to make profit on that. How much do we care is the question. Man, this graph is just continuing to break. Okay, that's pretty exciting. Yeah, it's completely busted. Perfect. Well, we're going to be done with our wheat farm expansions very soon here. 2 more weeks. Fantastic. Okay, 1 more week. Let's get that done. And at this point, I'm going to start expanding like this. We are technically a little bit in a deficit at this moment. But there we go. We finish up the wheat farms, and we should be fine. Now, let's check in on our wheat balance. We'll have to wait a bit for those farms to fully come online. But that seems to be okay. I'm definitely noticing some clothes that we could attempt to satisfy. The market price of wheat is improving. Are we now considered a... Oh, we're the number 10 producer worldwide now of grain. Fantastic. So no problem there. Okay, so I want to go through all of these as well. We only went through the urban buildings previously, didn't we? So I want to go through these rural buildings and make sure that there's not... There are some improvements that we can make here. Condensing engine pump, steam donkey, looks good. Steam donkey and condensing engine pump. Yeah, same thing for most of these. Why is this not indicating that there's an upgrade available? That's interesting to me. I know that there is an upgrade available for those, but it wasn't tossing up the indicator saying you should upgrade this. Huh. Maybe because it wouldn't be profitable in some way? I'm not sure. Regardless, this all looks reasonably fine. Cool. So we'll let that take effect. And our standard of living is slowly improving. We just unlocked nitroglycerin. Okay, so that will help our mines again and leads to dynamite. So let's go ahead and hop into our buildings yet again in the rural section. And we're currently running manual drilling. But we can swap over to nitroglycerin, and that will actually drop our productivity a little bit, at least while we're transitioning over to it. But let's go ahead and let that happen. Cool. And we're not constructing right now either. So, the question is, do we feel like we need more wheat? Honestly, clothes are the most in demand thing at this point. So, textile mills would be the way to go. Fair enough. All of these are currently negative in terms of their income. Mostly due to simply wages. Almost. Well, there's a fair amount of fabric needed, but it's mostly the silk and the wages. Fascinating. We can now get better artillery. And we can grab, say, repeaters. There we go. Yeah, we have explosives input goods shortages. So we definitely do need explosives. And what is it that produces explosives again? Chemical plants. Okay. So those are munition plants there. Chemical plants. Here we go. So we're going to build some chemical plants. We'll get that going for now. Ammunition is also currently expensive, but I want to check in to see if we can switch over to smoothbore, which I believe we can. So let's see here. Our arms industries. Yeah, smoothbores. There we go. Fantastic. Got that. I'm actually slightly surprised that we're making money building these 3 workshops. I like it. That's really solid. We're very close to being out of debt at this point. And that's why I'm running a fairly even balance. We're not trying to run a deficit. In fact, we're actively trying to not run a deficit. But I'm trying to run a somewhat balanced economy here for the moment. So these states should come out of turmoil eventually. Eventually. Our standard of living is creeping up. That's for sure. The material wealth is the baseline. Gotcha. So. Any building is urban center, blah, blah, blah. Okay, yeah, that's fine. Just wanted to check in on that real quick. This seems reasonably fine, but I wouldn't mind checking in on our laws here and seeing if there's anything here to raise the standard of living. Escape actually fully closes that. I don't necessarily like that. I would prefer it if escape was this back button, but I guess that's mouse 4. So that's fine. We can just do that, right? So that's completely fine. I'll just have to get used to it. So let's take a look here and see what we've got to see if there's anything that will improve the standard of living. Now, we could potentially think about increasing our health system. Potentially. Unfortunately, we can't enact this. We have a 0% chance at this right now because the industrialists are opposing it. Fair enough. We've got our public schools, which are just fine. We could enact a militarized police force, but we haven't invented mass surveillance, so that's not a thing. Okay. Child labor is allowed, which seems fine. Yeah, we just lack a lot of technology to be able to change any of these laws at this point. So that seems, I guess, fine. So we're lacking ammunition and explosives at this point. Of course, we're working on chemical plants right now. So that will help a lot. But munitions plants will also be fairly important. And we're also currently spending quite a lot on goods for government buildings, or for military buildings specifically. Ammunition, small arms, artillery, man-o'-wars. Primarily ammunition. That is our primary expenditure at this point. So I definitely think building munition plants, despite this profit improvement, I think it's going to be worthwhile. So why is this so much here? Explosives are extraordinarily expensive. Okay, so just building these chemical plants will help a lot with our ammunition productivity. That makes sense. So that's good to know. These chemical plants are going to be complete in just a couple of weeks here now. And we're very, very glad to see that. But I would love, absolutely love to see those goods for military buildings costs coming down. So I think that chemical plants are definitely a thing that we need to work on. I want to check in on our balance of explosives right now. It's not that bad, actually. And each of these is going to produce how much? 150? So this should satisfy the entire balance here, at least for now, once those come online. So next we should build a round of munitions plants. Got it. And where are we going to build these? Well, wherever they are going to perform the best, which currently would be Westphalia. So we'll get that building. Cool. So, we're still running an explosives input goods shortage, but we don't expect those explosives factories to have come online just yet, right? So that'll definitely take a little bit of time. Down to minus 186, 184. Yeah, it's definitely improving on the explosives. So we're going to build some munition plants and see how that ends up changing the balance there. Cool. Oh, wow. We're actually making a good amount right now. Modern sewerage has been unlocked. Cool. Leads to steel frame buildings. Okay, that's a technology. Right. That's fine. Released patients from the Berlin asylum have steadily denounced the practices involved in their supposedly medical treatments. Mistreatment of the sick, withholding of personal letters, and disproportionate punishments were among the charges. They'd make us sit in a chair for hours, if not the whole day, in silence. We couldn't talk to any other patient, not even read a book. They'd only excuse us to go to the restroom, if we were lucky. Otherwise, it was just a rusty chamber pot. No food, no water. If we were not sick when we were admitted, we would be within just a few weeks. So we could entirely revise those. 7,200 government expenses for 5 years. Interesting. The trade unions could take over the asylum administration. That sounds like a fantastic idea. I think we'll overhaul it. Honestly, I think we can afford it. It'll be fine. We just started making quite a lot more, so should be completely fine. The chemical plants are now fully employed, or some of them are anyway, and it has improved the balance for explosives. Now we need to keep in mind here, the bar is showing the impact. I'm wondering if this is not raw numbers in the imbalance, because we know that this is orders, right? Iron Mines plus 108, blah, 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 blah. Okay, yeah, that does look to be actually the raw number. So that's interesting. Okay. Our cost for military buildings has dropped somewhat, because the cost of ammunition has dropped a bit. But we're still expanding our munitions plants here, so that'll be fine. We're very, very close to being out of debt. And otherwise, things are looking pretty good. Except for this graph, which is still fundamentally broken. Cool. So at this point, as far as grain goes, we're the number 10 producer worldwide. There's still a deficit of grain. No doubt about that. But what I'm mostly interested in is reducing the price of ammunition, which will include more explosives. So it looks like we do need to build more chemical plants. And that's what I wanted to swap over to before we figured it out. So that'll be fine. Actually, continuing to expand in Westphalia seems decent. Sulfur is the primary cost here. Okay. Just checking here. Gotcha. So I would like to build additional sulfur mines. The question is, do we want to run a deficit to do that? I think we could get away with it, for sure. Not enough qualifications to fully staff this building. Okay. But we do have it here. Now, what's the difference in costs here? Is this sulfur mine buying sulfur? No, it would just be reducing the cost of sulfur. Okay, just checking on that. Well, we don't have an input goods shortage for it, so I'm going to continue to go here. The lack of provisions has spread to the neighboring state of Westphalia, where the failing of the crops has increased casualties among our people. No imagination can conceive... Oh, we've already read this one. Okay. So, our emergency relief measures have toned down the number of victims. Cool. So we're going to finish up those munition plants here in 2 weeks. And let's see what that does for our input goods shortages. It should not do anything. It should make the explosives input goods shortage worse, in theory. So we need to immediately begin working on some chemical plants here. I would like to actually build them in, like, Prussian Brunswick. I feel like not enough qualifications here. There are no peasants here. So that's probably a bad thing. We could continue to expand it in Westphalia. The sulfur is cheaper here. The coal and iron spend about the same amount. It's that the fertilizer's a bit better in terms of the price in Westphalia. That's the reason. Okay, got it. Okay, we're just going to build 5 of these over here. And that does mean we'll run a deficit for a little bit. I don't like it. We'll build 3. Okay, there we go. So that'll be fine. We'll get those underway. I just don't want them all in the same place. Okay, Westphalia is migrating now, and we can definitely run an emergency relief there. Cool. So how are things going in terms of the market here? We've still got an explosives input goods shortage, which makes me think that we're exporting a lot of these or something. Okay, what's this diplomatic play? 2 Sicilies started a conquer state against a papal state. That's gonna get spicy. Okay. I wish them luck on that one. Papal states and 2 Sicilies have begun their mobilization. Yeah, that's gonna get spicy indeed. What's going on with this? We could declare neutrality. Or we could just chill. And that's what we're going to do. There's a lot leaning papal states, and that is unsurprising. We could set our stance also towards the papal states. Basically, no one is siding with 2 Sicilies. They are less powerful than we are. Look at all these people siding against them. We're going to join the cool club. Fantastic. I'm pretty sure that they're going to back down here. Greece sided with 2 Sicilies. Hilarious. France sided with the papal states. And France began mobilization. Honestly, I'm not gonna. I suppose we could mobilize, like, this guy. We must be part of a diplomatic play. I thought we were. We had sided with them, but I guess... Oh, we didn't support them. We're leaning towards them. Got it. Okay, that's fine. Import route for artillery. That's nice. We do still have another 11 weeks on our construction for our chemical plants. But I want to participate in this, I think. Because I want to really figure out how these diplomatic plays work. France is already on their side, so this should be something that we can win. We're going to side with the Papal States. Which means that we should be able to mobilize this guy and his 51 battalions. I'm not going to mobilize any more than that. And we can immediately see, if we go into the military lens, it might get a little easier to see. We can see that there's this front here. So there's currently 76 versus 81 divisions, or I guess, are they battalions in this game? I can never remember what they're called. Regardless, we're going to come down over here. This is the front here. What we want is to grab our mobilized guy. And we want him to either advance or defend front here. So if you're advancing a front, you're trying to invade enemy territory. And you have 20% attrition risk, but 10 front advancement speed. If we go over into defend front, plus 20% attrition risk, but minus 50% front enemy advancement speed. Now we're going to defend this front because we're on the defensive side. So there we go. We'll send those guys on over. Okay, Great Britain is trying to make Zulu their dominion. Hilarious. Cool. So we'll be arriving here, and we have arrived here now. So we can see that we have a 32% advantage. Which is decent, I think, if I'm reading this correctly. We have 129 units, they have 82, and we have 56 offense, defense, they have 47. So things are 33% in our favor, essentially. Austria declared neutrality. Great Britain declared neutrality. Cool. So we're not going to do too much to try to get in there because we want to be still focusing on our economy. Although I do want to point out, we are now out of debt. We now have positive gold reserves. That is fantastic. I'm really, really glad to see that. But it is time to put a cut in here. Oh, hang on. Two Sicilies backed down in their diplomatic play. So this will not escalate into a war. Okay, sounds good. Well, we got a little bit to, we got to look into that system a little bit there. Not a whole lot, but I'm glad we dove into that. So that'll be useful for the future. It is, however, time to put a cut in here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. And next episode, we are going to be making a lot more money, I think. Hopefully. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including Kazaral, JJ Gamer, ALS Gamer, Ken2Win, Atala, Jens Graham, Spartan News, Nick Smarty, Video Games Are Not Real, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.